remind myself back when I was like, I think 9, my brother used to have a uke, so I listened to it all the time.
ELO, they're amazing. And whenever my hubby listens to it, he just wants to listen to the album because he knows that they were designed to listen in order. Whereas other things we have on shuffle, but not ELO.
No.
Yeah. Just one of those things.
Just one of those things. Well, good morning. Welcome. How is your week been?
Oh, it's been busy. Busy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Slept well?
Sleep is one of my challenges.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a good topic.
Sleep is one of my challenges. And it always has been. And I actually don't know whether they've found any genes associated with it, but my mum has always been a night owl in the way that, oldies say that they're... But since she was like 3 years old, literally, she went to a sleep clinic when she was 3 years old because she was the second out of 11 kids. And so by that stage, there would have been 3 kids at home and mum just didn't sleep.
Well, you wouldn't back in those days. You'd be busy.
Yes.
Get up in the morning already, the schedule's kicked in.
Yes.
Before your eyes open.
Yeah. So poor old grandma, she struggled, So anyway, it's one of those things that these days there's a lot more known about sleep, and who knows how much of it is... Actually, there are links, especially with kids who aren't sleeping very well. There's all that stuff we now know about pregnancy. So all the neurotransmitters going through a pregnant mum are actually going through the bubby as well. Mm. So when I had my kids, and we're talking 30 years ago, they used to say that the womb was a very separate little unit, and that it was safe from, our naughty dietary habits or our stresses. They know that's not true now.
Yeah.
And they probably knew it at the time, since they were still saying don't drink and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, that's
but,
right. Yeah, the blood-brain barrier does a lot to protect the fetus in there anyway, but there's a lot that the blood-brain barrier does not stop. And things like external noises.
Yeah.
The fetus is growing, the fetus is learning all these new things that stimulate them. So if it's hearing a noise outside, it's going to react to that noise when it's walking.
Yeah.
So,
actually, speaking of which, have you heard of the Moro Reflex?
Yeah.
Yep. So for about 8.5 months in the womb, 7.5 months in the womb, the Moro Reflex is getting stronger, and it's part of what helps the baby to be born. It's so that the baby crawls out the birth canal. And then it's also the reason, so to speak. And then it's also the reason why when a baby, that those screams that babies do, that big, loud, that red face, the clenched fists, the rah, the scream of where you're obviously beating them up with a big stick, poor little darlings. Anyway, but that real scream, that's the Moro Reflex just gone haywire, and it's supposed to be really active until 4 months old.
That's right.
And it's to keep them alive.
Yeah, it's a communication that even though a newborn baby is not physically going to be able to go, hey, Mum,
yes,
I'm hungry, and if it did, you'd be freaked out.
Yes.
But that's why the screams are there.
Yes.
It's literally a maternal thing that a woman or even a paternal father these days pick up on it so easy.
Yes.
That the parents know that scream is not right. It means something. It's not just a whinging scream. It's it validates.
So there was a doctor in the UK, and we're probably going back between, and I'm talking 15 to 35 years ago, and he was looking at children where the Moro Reflex was jammed. Yeah. So it hadn't diffused. So it's in the unconscious part of the brain, and it's designed to keep us alive. But in some kids, it stays active. Mm. So in those kids who are hypervigilant, there's sort of a noise and they jump. Yeah. Or when you're watching Alien and you're having a cup of tea, and just before the bit that you've watched 27 times before, and someone says, Madonna, put down your cup of tea, because you know that even though you've seen it 27 times before, that alien and the cat happens, and my Moro is still active.
Yeah.
So
do you think it might be a connection with people who might not be sleeping
yes.
so well? I mean, we do know that sleep deprivation is caused by so many different
absolutely
reasons.
And as we get older, of course, there's so many of the other reasons, like the inability, like snoring and the obstruction, the airways, and all sorts of things happen, and anxiety and stress and depression and panic attacks and pain. Mm-hmm. How many people are kept awake by restless legs?
I hate restless legs. I hate it.
Yeah.
You can't keep still, and you
that's
keep
right.
Your feet spreading all the time.
And I've got those people who come in and they're actually, and this is probably me to a certain extent. I don't really have pain through the day, except my feet ache when I'm on my feet for 6 hours, but that's a different thing. But like some people aren't in pain throughout the day, and then they lie down in bed and all of a sudden they're feeling their left shoulder and their right hip and their left foot starts to ache, and you think, goodness me, what is that?
Yeah, a lot of people, and look, I'm going to put it out there because I know a particular man who's listening, who happens to be my husband. He gets very stimulated at night. So, and I mean, not much of thinking, ladies or gentlemen, but you know, if he's watching TV or if he's, you know,
Well, too much of that or not enough of that
social
can't help
media.
either.
That's right. If he's into too much social media, or if he happens to be watching, you know, documentaries, he loves his documentaries. The worst thing you can do, regardless, is watch something and then go to bed.
And then he's thinking about
And
it.
he does, and he gets something and goes, "Okay, I'll be watching, I'll have my eyes, like, you know, the lid's closed, obviously, but he'll say, oh, did you know, and did you see?" And it's like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, look, we're going to talk more about sleep deprivation in just a minute, because we've got more great music coming up in the next hour, because Madonna is going to help us work out what sleep issues you have.
Cool.
I know what my issues. Let's kick it off. Here is Rock